It's great to have you with me today on Paint a Beautiful Picture. This is episode number 189, Nurturing Devotion. In the movie Grease, which incidentally, I do not like it a bit, but there's a song, Hopelessly Devoted to You. These are two teenagers, and it is really easy for them in the throes of lust and like to say that they're going to be devoted to someone. But in reality, devotion is something that is part of the long, long haul in a life. It is not a momentary thing. To be devoted to something actually denotes or describes a strong level of commitment to the end. Okay? So, how do you nurture devotion in your child? My challenge question for the day is, to what is your life devoted? Because it probably is devoted to something. Some people aren't honest enough to say, my life is devoted to my own comfort. My life is devoted to whatever I want or whatever I need or whatever feels good at the moment. In other words, someone who's a hedonist, because it's all about me and what I need and what I want and how I feel and what makes me feel good. Well, at least be truthful. So, to what is your life devoted? Is your life devoted to your children? Because I think for quite a few people it is. Is your life devoted to your work? Is your life devoted to your mate? Is your life devoted to God? What is your life devoted to? It's a very fair question. Once you look at what your own life is devoted to, if you can see it, then you might actually be able to start to assess how you're going to do at teaching devotion to your child. You might even ask, does it matter? I mean, who cares if they're married 5 or 6 times in their life, but they actually love all of those people while they're with them? I'm okay about that. Really. I mean, I know people who feel that way, and it's okay. That's a legitimate viewpoint. Uh, if they choose to get drunk every weekend, or they, decide that it's okay to get high and they struggle to hold a job, it might not be how I'd want to live my life, but that's their own personal business. I can honestly say I've met a few parents who said that to me. Okay. I mean, preferably they're not going to live in their basement till they're 50 with their mom and dad, but, I've heard parents say that that's okay with them if their kid does that. In general, though, that isn't what parents want. In general, parents would like their children to grow up and have a decent job and be married to someone that they really care about, not 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 different someones, but actually be married to someone that they care about, have a family, be devoted, care for their children, expend emotional energy and mental and spiritual energy on what is good. And I do mean by good what is healthy, productive, contributing to society and contributing to their own life's joy and to their own family. If you want that to happen, you probably actually need to do something about nurturing devotion in your child. Because you know what? Let's be honest with each other. Human beings are not renowned for staying. They are pretty renowned for leaving. In life, pretty much everyone at some point is a flight risk. It's not a joke. People just up and leave their spouses, just up and leave their kids. I know. It happened to me. There is a young man uh, that I know who has 5 little children, and for real, his eldest is 11 years old, and his wife just up and took off with some guy. Trust me, it happens a lot more than you might want to know or think about. In our world, there are lots of flight risks. People get sick of their job, they just take off. People get sick of doing what they have to do, they just go on a bender and get wasted. I watched a documentary the other day about a young man, a Navajo young man. His name is Rudy, who was working with the Nez Perce. I'm really interested in Native American culture. and he's an alcoholic. He got this great program going for them in terms of returning their horses to the tribe and helping young people in the tribe work alongside of them. And then he went on this massive bender and things completely fell apart for all those young people. Lots of the horses had to get auctioned off. It affected the tribe very, very negatively and still is affecting them years later. All of us need to understand that as human beings, we often give up and split. We are all a flight risk. It's honestly true. And so it might require a certain amount of work. It might require a certain amount of intention on our part to foster and nurture that devotion in our children. They need to understand that when life is hard, when the going gets really tough, that's exactly the time to buckle down and stay. It's the time to look for problems that can be solved. It's the time to look for creative solutions. It is not the time just to give it up, throw in the towel, and take off, which is what a lot of people do. Many, many, many. In fact, tragically, I'd almost get close to saying most in today's world. How do you help your child nurture devotion in their life? When they're taking piano lessons, when they're involved in a sport, when they're involved in dance, when they're ice skating, they're in football, they're in soccer, they're in baseball, they're in basketball, and it gets very tough and they want to quit. You say, no, you made this commitment and you're going to keep this commitment. And I acknowledge to you that this is difficult. I acknowledge you are not having a fun time. I can see that. And yet, you are going to keep this commitment. That fosters devotion. It fosters the sense in them that when things are difficult, when things are challenging, when things are miserable, when things are frustrating, you still stay. You find a way to stay. You go inside of yourself and you find those inner reserves of strength and determination and you stay. Because devotion means to stay. I have a friend who was married for almost 70 years. My mom, her folks, they were married 74 years. My grandfather died a couple weeks before their 75th wedding anniversary. That level of commitment and staying together, that level of devotion, I promise you, it took them both being determined through difficult, challenging, frustrating days to maintain that level of devotion and reach that point in their lives. Our kids need to grasp the importance and the value of devotion. Another area where you can nurture it with them is with their children. I'm sorry, pardon me, I misspoke. Is with their friends and with your other children. In other words, they are going to seek ways to solve problems. They are going to seek positive, uh, reciprocal kinds of relationships. But even when there are bad days and it isn't fully reciprocal and it's unbalanced, and they're still going to continue to be a good friend, a good brother, a good sister. They're going to learn devotion to someone that matters in their world. And especially with brothers and sisters, you need to tell them and you need to foster this relationship between them by saying, this is going to be your family for the rest of your life, till the day you die. Many of your friends will come and go, but your brothers and sisters, they are a part of your life until the day you die. And you have to find a way to get along with them. I would like you to endeavor to look at the parts of them that you appreciate, that are meaningful to you, and that you continue to have a relationship with them. I actually have brothers and sisters that are very challenging people. Drug addicts, abusive people, unkind people. Yeah, I have a lot of really challenging relationships with my siblings. It has to do with the way we were brought up. And you know what? I still have some form of a relationship with them. And so your kids need to understand, and especially if they're raised in a healthy environment, that they love one another and care for one another and they are an active part in one another's lives. These people are going to be in your life forever. My sons, let me tell you, they really love each other. They are as different as night and day. When they were kids, they wanted to fight. They both have pretty strong personalities. I didn't allow them to fight with each other, or if they had disagreements, they had to work them out in an appropriate way, looking for a solution, not just a way to take it all out on each other. And right now, I am so proud of the kind of relationship that they have with one another. They really are devoted to one another and to one another's well being. I'm pretty sure they would just about do anything for one another. You want you to I want you to nurture devotion in your children, that they will be devoted to God, devoted to their mates when they find them, devoted to their children, devoted to their family. And if you are truly blessed, devoted to you as some of the most influential and amazing people in their life, that they will raise up when they are adults and say, I'm really thankful that you were my mom. I am so grateful that you were my dad. And they will be devoted to you all the days of your life. I hope this has been an encouragement to you today. I'm so glad you were able to join me on Paint a Beautiful Picture. You may find additional information on our paintabeautifulpicture.com website. Additionally, you may watch me on Rumble, and you may also listen to a podcast on Buzzsprout or Spreaker, all under the name Paint a Beautiful Picture. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You may subscribe, and if you are interested in receiving notifications, please hit the notifications button.